There is a peculiar tension that arises when two souls love you, a tension that does not merely exist between them, but within you. It is tempting to imagine that the conflict belongs to those two hearts competing for your affection, yet the deeper truth is far more unsettling. The real conflict unfolds in the hidden chambers of your own psyche. For when two souls love you, they rarely love the same version of you. One reaches for the light you consciously display to the world, the cultivated self, the persona shaped by experience and expectation. The other is drawn towards something quieter, more dangerous, more unfinished. The shadow you have barely dared to acknowledge. Its love feels familiar, structured, and reassuring. It admires your strength, your virtues, the qualities you proudly recognize as your identity. In its presence, you feel seen in a way that confirms who you believe yourself to be. This love aligns with your social self, the part of you that knows how to behave, how to speak, how to maintain harmony. It nourishes your confidence and reinforces your chosen narrative. With this soul, love feels like sunlight resting gently on still water. The second soul, however, does not fall in love with your sunlight. It is captivated by your twilight. It senses the unspoken fears behind your smile, the suppressed desires beneath your discipline, the intensity you have learned to conceal. This soul loves you not for who you present yourself to be, but for the contradictions you struggle to integrate. It feels magnetized by your depth, your uncertainty, your unfinished edges. In its gaze, you are not polished. You are raw. Not complete, but becoming. This is where the conflict truly begins. The love of the first soul stabilizes you. The love of the second destabilizes you. One invites you to remain who you are. The other tempts you to become someone you have not yet dared to be. One feels like security. The other feels like transformation. And the human heart is rarely prepared to hold both without trembling. Within you, something ancient stirs. The psyche does not divide itself cleanly into light and shadow. Both coexist, intertwined like roots beneath the surface of consciousness. Most of us build our lives around the parts we can control, the parts we understand. We prefer admiration for our strengths rather than recognition of our wounds. We are comfortable being loved for our goodness, less certain about being loved for our darkness. And so, when two souls love you, each touching a different layer of your being, you are forced into confrontation with yourself. The first soul may say, "I love your kindness, your loyalty, your ambition." And you nod, because these are qualities you claim as your own. But the second soul might whisper, "I love your intensity, your doubt, the fire you try to extinguish." And that whisper unsettles you, because it reveals that you are more than your carefully constructed image. It reveals that beneath your composure lies something powerful and unpredictable. This dynamic is not merely romantic, it is symbolic. The two souls represent opposing energies within the human condition. One seeks order, the other embraces chaos. One preserves, the other disrupts. When both direct their love toward you, they awaken an internal dialogue. You begin to question which version of yourself is more authentic. Are you the person who thrives in stability, or the one who secretly longs for upheaval? Are you the gentle presence others rely upon, or the storm you hide behind restraint? Often the love of the second soul feels intoxicating. It sees what others overlook. It validates parts of you that have lived in exile. Yet this validation can be frightening. To accept it means to accept responsibility for your shadow. It means acknowledging that your suppressed anger, your hidden desires, your unspoken ambitions are not flaws to be erased, but energies to be integrated. And integration is never comfortable. It demands honesty. It demands courage. It demands that you relinquish the illusion of simplicity. Meanwhile, the first soul's love feels grounding. It reminds you of who you have been. It protects the identity you have built, offers a sense of belonging in a world that often feels uncertain. There is comfort in being loved for what is visible and proven. There is reassurance in not having to confront the darker corners of your psyche. With this soul, you can remain within the boundaries you understand. If you ignore the second soul entirely, something within you begins to ache. The shadow does not disappear when neglected. It waits. It gathers strength in silence, and sometimes it expresses itself through restlessness, dissatisfaction, or an inexplicable sense that something essential is missing. To be loved only for your light can feel incomplete, as though half of your existence remains unseen. But to surrender entirely to the second soul carries its own risk. Immersing yourself in transformation without stability can fragment you. The shadow, when embraced without awareness, can consume rather than enrich. Intensity without grounding can become self-destruction. And so you stand at the intersection of two loves, each offering a different path toward self-discovery. This is not a story about choosing between two people. It is a story about choosing how fully you are willing to know yourself. Two souls are catalysts. They provoke questions that might otherwise remain dormant. Through them, you encounter the polarity within your own being. You begin to see that you are not a single, fixed identity, but a dynamic interplay of opposing forces. The tension may manifest as guilt. How can you respond to one love without betraying the other? But beneath that guilt lies a deeper inquiry. How can you honor both the light and the shadow within yourself? For true wholeness does not arise from denying one in favor of the other. It emerges from reconciliation. The light must acknowledge the shadow, and the shadow must be illuminated by consciousness. When two souls love you, they unknowingly invite you into individuation, the process of becoming whole. The first soul strengthens your conscious self. The second challenges it. The first supports the life you have built. The second questions whether that life reflects your deepest truth. And in this questioning, growth begins. You may feel torn, but this tearing is destruction. It is expansion. The psyche stretches beyond its previous limits. You begin to recognize that love is not merely about comfort or excitement, but about revelation. Each soul reveals a different dimension of your humanity. Each confronts you with choices that shape your evolution. Perhaps the greatest fear is not losing one of them. The greatest fear is losing the version of yourself that each love sustains. If you choose stability, will you silence your fire? If you choose transformation, will you sacrifice your peace? These are not simple decisions, because they echo far beyond romance. They define your relationship with yourself. Truth, the presence of two souls loving you, is a psychological mirror. It forces you to see the multiplicity within. You are both the calm surface and the hidden depth, both the disciplined structure and the wild impulse, both the light you proudly display and the shadow you secretly carry. And the journey toward holiness requires that you stop pretending you are only one of these things. Love, then, becomes less about possession and more about integration. The first soul teaches you to value your virtues. The second teaches you to confront your complexity. Between them, you are invited to transcend the illusion of a divided self and move toward a fuller, more conscious existence. And as you stand within this emotional crossroads, feeling the pull of two different forms of affection, you begin to understand that the real question is not which soul loves you more, but which parts of yourself you are finally ready to embrace. To be loved by two souls is to stand before a mirror that does not reflect a single face, but a divided self. Love, in its deepest psychological form, is never simply about attachment. It is revelation. I uncovers the multiplicity within us, the silent contradictions we carry, the identities we shift between depending on who is watching. When two souls love you, they do not merely offer affection. Illuminate different fragments of your inner world, fragments that may not even speak to each other. We like to believe we are unified beings. We introduce ourselves with a single name, a single personality, a consistent history. Yet beneath that surface lies a landscape far more complex. There is the self we consciously construct, shaped by family, culture, and survival. And there is the hidden self, formed in silence, in longing, in experiences we never fully expressed. These two dimensions do not always agree. They coexist, sometimes peacefully, sometimes in tension. And when two souls love you, each one often resonates with a different dimension of this divided interior. One soul may love the version of you that is stable, responsible, and dependable. It sees coherence in you. It trusts your decisions. It admires your clarity. In its presence, you feel solid, grounded, defined. This love affirms your conscious identity. It strengthens the story you tell yourself about who you are. It confirms your chosen direction. With this soul, you experience alignment. There is comfort in knowing that someone recognizes the person you have worked hard to become. The other soul may love the version of you that is uncertain, searching, restless, does not fall for your achievements alone. It is drawn to your questions, your vulnerability, your unfinished dreams. In its presence, you feel exposed but alive. This love does not reinforce your identity. It disrupts it. It suggests that you are more than the role you play. It senses potential in you that you have not yet claimed. With soul, you experience expansion. There is danger in knowing that someone sees the person you might become. The divided self becomes visible through these two forms of love. You begin to notice how you behave differently with each soul. With one you speak confidently, move carefully, embody the image you recognize. With the other you reveal doubts, desires, impulses that surprise even you. It is not deception. It is multiplicity. Each soul awakens a different configuration of your psyche. This is why the experience feels so profound. It is not merely about choosing between two people. It is about reconciling two internal realities. First soul mirrors your established self. The second mirrors your emerging self. One reflects your past decisions and accumulated identity. The other reflects your future possibilities and latent transformation. The tension between them is not accidental. It arises because the human psyche resists fragmentation. We seek unity. We want to feel whole. Wholeness is not achieved by denying parts of ourselves. It is achieved by acknowledging them. When two souls love you, the division within becomes undeniable. You can no longer pretend that you are singular and simple. You must confront the fact that you contain contradictions. Perhaps you notice that with the first soul, you feel safe but slightly confined. With the second, you feel exhilarated but slightly unstable. Safety and instability are not opposites to be judged. They are signals of different psychological needs: the need for continuity, the need for growth, the need to preserve, the need to transcend. The divided self often fears exposure. We are taught to present consistency, to be predictable, to choose one path and follow it without deviation. But love does not obey the phase rules. Love penetrates the surface and interacts with what is real. When two souls love you, they expose the truth that your identity is not fixed. It is evolving, and evolution is rarely linear. You may ask yourself which love is more authentic, the one that matches your current life or the one that challenges it. Authenticity is not a static state. It shifts as you integrate new insights. The love that feels true today may feel limiting tomorrow. The love that feels disruptive today may feel essential tomorrow. Both are mirrors. Both reveal something necessary. Sometimes you may feel guilt for responding to both, but the guilt arises from the illusion that you must be one thing only. The psyche is not a straight line. It is a constellation. Different stars shine at different times. Different aspects of you seek recognition in different seasons. To be loved by two souls is to experience that constellation illuminated from multiple angles. One mirror shows you who you have mastered. The other shows you who you have suppressed. One celebrates your discipline. The other celebrates your longing. One stabilizes your identity. Other destabilizes it just enough to provoke introspection. Neither is inherently right or wrong. They are reflections of inner duality. The danger lies not in being loved twice, but in refusing to see what each love reveals. If you cling only to the mirror that flatters you, you risk stagnation. If you cling only to the mirror that excites you, you risk fragmentation. Growth demands discernment. It demands awareness of why you are drawn to each reflection. The divided self is not a flaw. It is evidence of depth. A shallow identity does not create tension. Only a complex psyche experiences this kind of internal dialogue. When two souls love you, they activate that dialogue. They force you to examine what you truly value: comfort or transformation, recognition or discovery, stability or risk. Perhaps the most unsettling realization is that neither soul completes you. Completion does not come from external affection. It comes from internal integration. The two loves are catalysts, not solutions. They awaken questions that only you can answer. Who are you when no one is watching? Which parts of yourself have you neglected? What are you afraid to become? As you contemplate these questions, you may begin to understand that the divided self longs for unity, but not through simplification, longs for harmony between its contradictions. The responsible self and the impulsive self, the secure self and the searching self, the one who wants peace and the one who craves intensity. To be loved by two souls is to be invited into this inner reconciliation. You cannot escape the mirror. You can only decide how honestly you will look into it. And as you look, you begin to see that love is not merely an emotion directed outward. It is a force that shapes identity. It is a pressure that reveals structure. It is a light that exposes both strength and fracture. In the end, the question is not which soul deserves you. The question is which version of yourself you are willing to integrate into consciousness. Because until you reconcile the divided self within, every love will feel incomplete, every choice will feel partial, and every reflection will remind you that the journey toward fullness has only just begun.